in this auditorium here today. When I was requested to come for the event by son Nitish, who traveled all the way to Delhi, I asked him, why me? You have some warm relationships, some personal reasons, and so on and so forth. And he said, but I still want you to come. I do not have an answer why I'm here, but I have a couple of other answers. So while he was asking me to come, and I said, who else you would like to be in this gathering today? And we were thinking for a few seconds. Those who accompanied Nitish to my place, they said, while flying to Delhi, we thought of Mr. Dushyanth Sridhar. I said, I was thinking about him too. So what a coincidence. So you have somebody like him to be part of this wonderful evening, and he fits in so many ways to add color and richness to today's evenings talking about Mr. Narasimhan. I personally welcome Dushyanth Sridhar here, and then I asked him to please come. He said, when you ask me to come, I'll be there. So I am beholden to him, and I'm sure in his presence today adds a lot of richness and warmth to come and celebrate a wonderful evening like this today. And of course, when Justice Arvind Kumar is here, there is more benefit than to come.
To achieve excellence. Excellence ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ನಾನು ದುಷ್ಯಂತ್ ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅವರು ವೇದ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರು. ಇವಾಗ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ನಾನಲ್ಲಿ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಾವು ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಇದು ಬಂದರೆ ಇದು ನೋಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ದುಷ್ಯಂತ್ ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅಂತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನೋಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡಿದೆ. ಅವರು ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಚಾಲೀಸಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನನಗೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ತನಕ ನನ್ನ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದು ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅರ್ಜುನನಿಗೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆನ ಬೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ದ, ಇವರೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರ ಧ್ವಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಹನುಮಂತ ಇದ್ದ, ಹನುಮಂತ ಮತ್ತು ಅರ್ಜುನ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಮಹಾಭಾರತನ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಸೊ ನನಗಿವತ್ತು ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಲಾಯರ್ಸ್.
ದೇವ ಸದಾ ತ್ವದೀಯಾಃ ದಯಾತರಂಗಾನುಚರಾ ಕಟಾಕ್ಷಾಃ ಶ್ರೋತ್ರೇಷು ಪುಂಸಾಂ ಅಮೃತಂ ಕ್ಷರಂತೀಂ ಸರಸ್ವತೀಂ ಸಂಶ್ರಿತಃ ಕಾಮಧೇನು. A very good evening to the August gathering. My obeisances, my namaskarams to the Bhagavatottamas, the dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Justice Shri Arvind Kumarji, Venkatramani-ji, Narasimhan-ji and his Dharmapatni, and to all the Astikas who have gathered in this auditorium. We have a very, very rich living civilization that has inspired us for decades and generations. One name that great people of expertise across fields invoke is Vyasa. Incidentally, the days on which we sit and we speak is referred to as Vyasa Pitha. So Vyasa is known to be that gigantic personality who inspired. So much so that his very father praised him. His father was a great Maharshi called Parashara, who says, Krishnadvaipayanam Vyasam testimonial from your father. And Shastras come in corroboration and support of it. It says that parents should never praise their children. But the first thing that parents of my generation do is, even if the boy utters twinkle, twinkle, little star, it becomes a moment of recording that on WhatsApp and saying comments like fantabulous. So, Vyasacharya's father praised him. But such accolades that were given to Vyasacharya, was it only to him? No. It was to a lineage. That is why every time we speak about a compendium of 1,000 names called Vishnu Sahasranama, we say Vyasam Vasishtha Naptaram Shaktef Pautram Akalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim. I salute Vyasa just not because he gave a compendium of 1,25,000 verses, because he comes in a lineage of people who have contributed. He is the great-grandson of Vasishtha, grandson of Shakti, son of Parashara, and he has produced a productive son called Shuka, so he is the father to Shuka. Same is the case with Narasimhan sir's lineage. He is the great-grandson of a Nama called Vasudeva, the grandson of Lakshmi Narayana, the son of Vasudeva, and the father to Nitish. So we find a lineage that is contributed in its own ways. So when probably people say as a cliched statement that history repeats itself, yes, indeed it repeats. So that is one. I was quite teary-eyed when I saw the beautiful portrait of Narasimha on the dais. And we were asked to light the lamp, and we were asked to offer the flowers. And of course to the beautiful chanting of the Vedas and the Narasimhashtakam. Incidentally, in a verse of the 6th century, 1500 years back, from a neighboring state of Tamil Nadu, was a great poet called Nammalvar, who says in Tamil, Azhagiyantane Ari Uruvam Tane. He says, Nrisimha, so to this lineage, to this particular circle of knowledge and dedication, I pay my obeisances. Second, of course, at least I hold that beacon that I come from a different generation. When my generation, the day we join our job is when we make our retirement plans, because people think that to serve one field of expertise or one firm for over 2 years is redundancy, and over 3 years you're dead. So here I'm talking about a person called Narasimhan who has served the fraternity for 50 long years, and that's called as Para. I'm sure when you attend a lot of programs in the Dharmic religion, the priest tells you hold your palms together as if this is the mudra of Sankalpa. So he says, Adya Brahmanaha Dvitiya Parardhe Shvetavaraha Kalpe Vaivasvata Manvantere Kaliyuge Prathame Pade Jambudvipe Bharatavarshe Bharatakande Karnataka Pradeshayam Tasya Rajadhanim Tasya Upanagari Majestip Samipe Hall Madhye. We have to give the coordinates of the space and the time in the Sankalpam. That time we say Dvitiya Parardhe, because Brahma is in his second 50. The first 50 is over. Prathama Parardhe is over. He is in the Dvitiya Parardhe. So if we measure a human's life as per our scriptures, it says Shatamanam Bhavati. Let there be 100 years. And half of it is living, 50. Whereas there is a Tamil poet who says Padiyum Urangippogum Nimmayi Padinayandi. He calculates the number of hours that we sleep during the day and during the night, and says half of it goes away in sleep. And here is one person for 50 years he has been serving. So that itself is a great tribute. It is a big inspiration for a generation like us, where we think serving one company or serving one field for over 5 years itself is a big mistake. He has done it for 50 years as a tribute, and for that dedication is my reverence second time. The most important of all is when we look at our scriptures, there have been moments where we understand what is the role of judiciary. Of course, we have luminaries on stage. I am a little boy who's prattling on the stage, but with the little knowledge that I possess of the scriptures, what I've received from my gurus, I can tell you. Till about the 18th, 19th century, when we had kings, rajas rule, the concept was a Raja necessarily is like Paramatma. 50 years back, there was this Nepal king who was on a chariot and went on a procession in the long road of Chennai called as Anna Salai, known as Mount Road. A car suddenly stopped and the driver got out of the car and he prostrated before the king. The king was amazed. He said, "Why do you do this to me?" He says, "No, Shastram says, if there is a good king, he is equivalent to God." What is the concept of a king that we see from the scriptural perspective is the kings of the past used to be the ones who used to administer, used to be the ones who used to patronize arts, used to be the ones who used to defend the region if there were attacks from the enemies, and at the same time they were the ones who used to pronounce judgments. So they were the judge, they were the patrons of arts, they were the administrators, at the same time they were the defenders. But now we have dedicated segments for each of these. For example, the country needs to be defended. We have the armed forces, the air force, the navy. We have judgments to be given. We have the revered judiciary. We have administration. There is an executive in the parliament that takes care of it. And then we have patronizing arts. Then we have sabhas and ministries for that. So when we have distributed, even then there is a major portion of judgment which is left, which is judiciary. And every time we see scriptures from that perspective, there have been great moments where judgments and judiciary matters a lot. When Vibhishana deserted his brother Ravana because his brother was not walking on the path of dharma because he abducted the wife of a man who belonged to a neighboring country. It was actually an international issue what he had done by abducting somebody, some other country's thing. When Hague was not in the vogue, that is when Vibhishana left his country and he had to seek asylum in Bharata Desham. It was a big moment of dilemma for Rama because one, he was ordained to leave Ayodhya and stay in the forest for a span of Navapanchacha Varshani, 9 plus 5, 14 years. Second of all, while he was in the forest in the 13th year, his wife was abducted. With no CCTV footages of those times, he had to go seek the help of various people in identifying who it was. Finally, when there was an MOU signed between him and Sugriva, Sita Kapindraha Kshanadacharanam Rajiva Hemujjvala Nopamani Sugriva Ramah Pranayaf Prasange Vamani Netrani Samam Spuranti, says Valmiki. There was an MOU. Rama promised to deliver whatever he wanted to deliver, and it was now Sugriva's time. He had sent his Vanaras in different directions. They all reached south, and Hanuman informed that the coordinates have been spotted. She is below the shade of a tree called Shimshupa. I have given her your ring. She has given me your gem-studded hair clip. So see, this is the beautiful interaction that we had. Rama, it's high time that you rescue and retrieve her from the clutches of Ravana. And then they started their sojourn to the shores of the south. That is when Vibhishana came seeking asylum, and it was a huge moment for Rama to decide. Because the one with whom he had MOU with, Sugriva, said, you shouldn't be accepting him. He has come to divide and rule over us. He has come to create pandemonium amidst us. So you shouldn't be accepting. That is when Rama had to wear the coat of being the judge. When I'm saying wearing the coat, I'm extremely being modest and choosing the right words, because 950 years back, a Tamil poet says, Kamban says, Karuppadai Udutti. He took the black coat and put it over him as the role of a judge and said, even if he chooses to be bad, I know how to correct him, but for now I shall give asylum. The moment of judgment, dilemma, and later judgment doesn't stop with the Ramayana. Even in the Mahabharata, in the middle of the battlefield, Arjuna asks whether I should be fighting or not. And at that moment, it is a moment of judgment. So judiciary has played such an important role. And if there is one person who has been a part of that system for over 50 years, it speaks volumes of the knowledge that one person would have acquired. Last of all, what one learns is a journey. Stopping never comes for learning, because learning is going to be a process. But what comes after learning is dissemination of knowledge which he has done after learning. And later he has taught. Teaching is an art. And teaching is something that one inspires. It is believed when we go through the scriptures that Rama wanted to be a teacher. And he never had an opportunity to be one. He was just waiting for the moment where he would be asked to teach, speak. In the Krishnavatara as well, he did a lot of things but teaching. He was waiting for the moment when the mic would be handed over to him. And fortunately or unfortunately, it was given on the first day in the battlefield. Arjuna asked a plethora of questions and Krishna could have just given objective one-word answers. But he wanted to seize the moment. He took the mic and spoke for 700 verses until Arjuna said stop. So, teaching is something that even the Supreme desires, and why will not our Narasimhan sir not desire? So he has been a part of the teaching circuit as well. When you learn, when you practice and you teach, you inspire. And the very proof of the inspiration is the big gathering that you have all gathered on such a momentous occasion to be a part of this ceremony that celebrates. Though he has celebrated 50 years in his professional journey and he's 70 plus now, in the dharmic civilization, we complete a circuit of 60 years. So it's called Sashti Abdha Purti. Sashti Abdha Purti, 60. And the next jump that one has is towards 80. Because we call it as the moment where one has seen close to 1,000 full moons. So from 60 we go to an 80. But in the intermediate stage comes the number 70. Gopascha sambhuya guhopamakshim svaghosha nirhadita vishvaghosham gatasu maikshanta nishacharim tam bhimakritim bhaimarathim ivanyam, says the poet. It is believed on the 70th year, 7th month, 7th night, one has a dream called Bhaimarathi. To overcome that Bhaimarathi is where there is a samskara called Bhimaratha Shanti, which is done at the age of 70. So now that he has crossed 50 years in his career, 70 years in his life, this occasion, which is being so very auspicious in every account, is like a Bhimaratha Shanti that where you have all participated. I am extremely thankful that I was unlike Krishna, because Krishna had to speak 700 verses the moment he was given the mic. But I was very softly told that there is a time limit for you to start and finish, because on an average most of my everyday lectures go for about 2 to 2.5 hours. So without drinking a sip of water, I have to speak like that 250 lectures a year. So but they told me when they invited me, Nitish came with his, of course, well-wishers to our residence and said, you are invited. I said, I'm really honored to be a part of this event, but how long should I speak? He said, just for a few minutes. I said, that's going to be the toughest part of my life. But it has been made easy with 2 other dignitaries who have graced this occasion, who will have much more to say than this little boy who has been prattling all along. Thank you so much. Namaskara.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts, your knowledge, and thank you for sticking to just a few minutes.